They left for the big family vacation, for cars, 17 people, and a group chat I wasn't in. I woke up to an empty, silent house. I called my mom. "We thought you were with your cousins," she said. I just froze. Hours later, my sister sent a wrong screenshot. "He's really not here." OMG. Our plan worked. I didn't react. Just texted, "Merry Christmas," opened my laptop, and cancelled the $12,700 Airbnb I had paid for. That's when step 2 kicked in. At 8:03 a.m., I had over 100 missed calls. One of the messages just said, "Emergency." Funny, isn't it? Last Christmas, my uncle half joked, half grumbled, "Must be nice not being included." That was after I picked up the tab for dinner. Back then, I thought it was just sarcasm. I laughed. But now, I get it. December 23rd rolled around. This year, there were no good mornings. No knock on my door. No texts. Just quiet so heavy it pressed down on the whole house. The place was spotless, no signs of life except for a phone charger on the floor and a couple pine needles near the door. My suitcase from a recent work trip was still by the hallway, unopened. My toothbrush sat dry. My wallet hadn't moved. For a second, I thought maybe I was dreaming. Or maybe they were just running late. So I picked up the phone and dialed. Mom answered on the second ring, like she hadn't expected me to call. I asked, "Hey, where is everyone?" There was this long pause, like the kind that builds up pressure right before a dam bursts. Then she said it again, "We thought you were in the van with your cousins." And again, I didn't say a word. Just stood there listening to how 17 people, for separate vehicles, a giant family trip, and somehow no one realized I wasn't there. Not one call. Not even a, "Hey, are you coming?" They didn't even bother saving me a seat. Mom kept talking. "I swear, I thought Logan told me you were in car too." Maybe there was a mix-up. Another long silence. I hung up. Still didn't raise my voice. I didn't ask why I was never added to the group chat. I didn't ask why I'd been left out of all the planning. I didn't bring up the fact that I'd dropped $12,700 on an Airbnb in the mountains, on my own credit card, and no one even remembered to include me. Then, 2 hours later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was from Jessica, my sister. The screenshot said it all. Probably meant for her friend Lindsay. You could see the group chat, 17 names listed. Pinned itinerary at the top. And under that, Jessica's message, "He's really not here." OMG. Our plan worked. I just stared at it. Didn't respond. Didn't call. Instead, I walked to the kitchen table, opened my laptop again, logged into my Airbnb account, and hit cancel. It went through instantly. Refund would be back in 3 to 5 business days. Then I sent one reply, "Merry Christmas." No emoji. No punctuation. No explanation. Just a sentence that would stick. Half an hour later, the phone started lighting up again. First 42 missed calls. Then 70. Then one message, "Emergency." I turned the phone off. Because now it was time for step 2. The first call I answered came from Dad. His voice was wrecked, like he'd been shouting already. "What did you do? You canceled the whole house." I kept calm. "No. I canceled my reservation. It just so happens the entire thing was in my name. On my card." "You think this is funny?" he barked. "There are 17 people outside a cabin in the snow." I shot back, "And you think I'm a joke?" Then I hung up. An hour later, I turned my phone back on. And man, the chaos had gone full-blown symphony. Missed calls from Mom, Aunt Clara, Cousin Ethan, Jessica again, even her boyfriend Logan, who, apparently, became part of the family faster than I ever got a group invite. I didn't answer any of them. I just watched the screen light up. Because for the first time in years, I wasn't rushing to patch up their mess. They didn't expect me to tell the backstory. For 3 years straight, I'd paid for every single holiday rental. Every time, the same promise, we'll send you our share later. Yeah, never came. Every cousin's birthday gift. That was me. Every time Jessica's car broke down, guess who she called? Not because I was her brother, but because I was the fallback. Mom once told me, "You're the responsible one. That's why we count on you." But no. That wasn't it. I was the quiet one. That's why they figured I wouldn't push back. They treated me like a never-ending credit card, loaded with fake apologies and real lies. By Christmas Eve, they were in full-blown panic mode. Mom texted, "We didn't mean to exclude you." Things got hectic with Jessica's kids and Logan's visa. "Please don't ruin Christmas." I read the message. And said nothing. Jessica put up a photo on Instagram from some roadside diner near the mountains. She had black coffee in front of her, messy hair, and a caption that read, "Family means not always agreeing, but always forgiving." I actually laughed out loud. The comments were pouring in like she was some kind of martyr. "Stay strong, babe. Hope it all settles down. People show their true colors when it matters most." Then I saw something I wasn't supposed to. A story from her private account, one I wasn't even supposed to have access to anymore. It was a screenshot of the family group chat. The one I wasn't part of. Her caption said, "He's finally out. Can't believe it took this long." Right below that, a screenshot of the Airbnb refund email. The exact one that had landed in my inbox. That's when it hit me. This whole thing had been planned. They knew I'd cover the cost of the trip. They knew I'd get left out. And somehow, they still figured I'd go ahead and pay for it all. I opened my bank app. It wasn't just Airbnb. Turns out Jessica had been using my Netflix, my Spotify, and my Amazon Prime. She'd ordered next-day delivery on hiking gear, stuff I never saw, never used. But it all came from my wallet. Then came the worst one, a $880 charge at a ski rental place in Aspen. I've never even set foot on a ski slope. They'd used my saved info, my logins, my autofill, my cards. Basically, my identity. I started taking screenshots of everything. Then I pulled up an old group chat from 2 years back, when Jessica had begged me to help her consolidate some debt. Just for 3 months, she said. It had been 31. That silence they'd wrapped me in. It wasn't just forgetfulness. It had become sabotage. So on Christmas night, I posted something. Not to everyone. Just to my close friends. A screenshot of the Airbnb refund confirmation. Captioned it. Turns out, I wasn't as invisible as they thought. By the next morning, messages started rolling in, from people I hadn't talked to in ages. "Cousin Ethan, dude, I had no idea they left you out. That's so messed up. I only went because they said you couldn't come. Aunt Clara, wait, you paid for the whole trip. I thought your mom and dad handled the Airbnb." Even Jessica was stunned. But the best message? That came from Logan. Her boyfriend. The tag-along prince. He started off nervous. Then finally wrote. "Man, I didn't know about any of it. I thought you skipped out because of work. Jessica said you offered to pay for the house." And then he added something that made my blood run cold. "She said you didn't like being around people anymore. Said you were fragile." Fragile. Same word Dad used last year when I told him I was burned out from my job. "Fragile boys don't last long in the real world," he'd said. Logan ended up calling that night. His voice was shaky, like he was scared just telling me what he knew. He spilled everything. Jessica had been planning this trip since October. She even called it her Christmas rebrand. Her words. Not mine. New energy. New family setup. No drama. Which apparently meant no me. She told Logan she'd take care of the Airbnb. Then turned around and told Mom that I had volunteered to cover it. But here's the thing, she never told anyone I was coming. She left me out of the travel docs. Never added me to the planning Zoom calls. Didn't even send me the itinerary. She said you'd just ruin the vibe, Logan whispered. That you'd get in the way. He told me he tried to stand up for me. Told her I should be there. Jessica just waved it off and said, "Don't worry. He's used to being left out. He won't even notice." I hung up on him without saying anything. That night, I started a new folder on my laptop. I named it, Used. Inside, I started collecting it all. Screenshots. Emails. Instagram stories. Amazon receipts. Airbnb confirmations. Old messages where they'd told me I was family, even though I was always the last to know and the first to pay. Then I opened a new tab. Typed in $12,700 Airbnb chargeback plus fraud. And hit enter. It was time for the next move. They thought I'd just disappear. Like always. They figured I'd sit in my little apartment, nursing another quiet holiday, fiddling with a half-finished puzzle and swallowing my frustration. They didn't realize I wasn't playing that role anymore. While they were out hiking snowy trails, grinning in their matching flannel shirts, I was already 10 steps ahead. You want to know how I kept tabs on them? Jessica, for all her brilliance, forgot one thing: my Spotify account was still logged into her phone. She'd been enjoying my premium account for months, no ads, endless skips. But what she didn't realize was that it also shared her location. I watched her real-time movements on the map. The cabin. The local store. The snow trails. And then came the Christmas dinner reservation, 7 p.m., Cedar Hollow Lodge, Aspen Room. I'd made the booking myself. Same place, just an hour earlier. I packed up my laptop, grabbed a folder labeled Used, stuffed with printouts of every charge on my card, and loaded my phone with all the screenshots I'd need. I threw on the same suit I'd last worn for a job interview, then drove up the mountain in total silence. It was just me, the hum of the engine, and a storm of anger building in my chest. 7 p.m., Aspen Room. They were already seated when I walked in. 4 tables pushed together. 17 people. The so-called real family. And of course, my chair was the only one left empty. I stood across the room, watching for a second. Mom had that uneasy smile she always wore when pretending everything was fine. Dad was pouring wine like he was hosting a fundraiser. Jessica was glued to her phone, probably checking how many likes her heartwarming Christmas post had gotten. Logan looked like he'd rather be anywhere else. Then I walked up to the table. Everything froze. Fork stopped mid-bite. The whole room went quiet. Someone, maybe Aunt Marcia, mumbled, "Oh no." "Hey everyone," I said with fake cheer. "I heard this is where Christmas dinner's happening." Silence. Then Jessica spoke. "This isn't your reservation." I grinned. "Actually, it is. You're sitting under my name. I'm the one who paid for this whole lodge package. Want to check the receipt?" Dad stood up. "You're making a scene." I shook my head. "No, I'm making a statement." I opened my laptop, flipped to the folder, and turned the screen toward them. "Let's walk through it," I said. That's when the whole thing began to crumble. First up, Airbnb invoice. My name. My card. $12,700. Then the confirmation of the refund. Stamped with the exact time and date. Then the text from Jessica, he's really not here. OMG. Our plan worked. She opened her mouth, but I held up my hand to stop her. Next slide, I said. Amazon orders, hiking gear, ski boots, Jessica's brand new parka. All bought through my Prime account. Then there's Netflix, Spotify, Uber, all charged to me. I turned toward my parents. Here are your grocery delivery receipts. The ones you claimed came out of your pension. Funny, I added, holding up the paper. This card says otherwise. Then I showed them the last page. A single screenshot. Pulled from Jessica's private story. He's finally out. Can't believe it took this long. The room went still. Mom looked like she'd just swallowed a handful of broken glass. Dad clenched his jaw so tight I thought I'd hear it snap. Logan slowly stood up, cleared his throat, and said, "Yeah. I'm out." Jessica's head whipped around. "Wait, what? Seriously?" He raised his hand to stop her. "I gave you the benefit of the doubt," he said. "But this? This is messed up. You used him. Lied to everyone. For what? A photo shoot?" She stuttered, "You don't understand." "I understand enough," he cut her off. "I'm not staying one more night in that cabin. This whole family is toxic." That was the breaking point. Aunt Clara leaned in and whispered something to Mom. Uncle Ethan didn't bother staying quiet. "I didn't know you were the one footing the bill, man. I thought you just didn't want to come." That's when Dad lost it. "This is exactly why we didn't include you. You always play the victim. Always trying to guilt-trip people." I stepped forward. "No," I said calmly. "I just got tired of paying to be forgotten." Then I reached into my coat pocket and pulled out a small speaker. "Hit play." Jessica's voice echoed through the dining room. "Don't worry, he's used to being left out. He won't even notice." It was unmistakably her. Clear as day. A voice message from a month ago, sent to Logan. Auto-saved in their chat. Jessica lunged forward. "Turn that off." I turned the volume up. Mom stood up. "Please," she said. "We can talk about this." "No," I told her. "That ship sailed." Then I pulled out one final thing. A small card. Business card size. Simple serif font. It read, "This dinner was paid for by the one you left behind. Bon appetit." I laid it in the middle of the table, closed the laptop, and walked away. Behind me, I heard chairs scooting back. A plate hit the floor. Someone whispered, "Jesus Christ." Outside, snow had just started falling. By the time I got back to the city, the story had already started spreading. Logan had gone straight home after the dinner and posted something short but heavy. Sometimes you don't realize until it's too late that the people closest to you can treat cruelty like it's part of the holiday tradition. He didn't name names. Didn't need to. Folks connected the dots on their own. Fast. The next morning, I went public too. I dropped the thread. No flashy caption. Just the truth. They went off on that big family trip without me. 4 packed cars. 17 people. One group chat, conveniently missing my name. I woke up alone in the house I paid for. A couple hours later, I got a message that clearly wasn't meant for me. "He's really not here. OMG. Our plan worked." That's all I needed to see. I canceled the $12,700 booking on the spot. And then I hit play on reality. I posted everything, screenshots of the charges, that voice memo, the texts, the lodge receipt, and that last photo I took at the dinner. 17 familiar faces, frozen in mid-shame, while I walked away from the table. It caught fire. Thousands of likes. Retweets. Shares. Flooded with DMs, strangers telling me their own stories. About siblings who always took without asking. Parents who weaponized guilt. Relatives who only remembered your number when the rent was late. One person wrote, "You didn't cancel Christmas. You reclaimed it." That one stuck with me. The next evening, Mom messaged me. "Please take that post down. People are calling. We're humiliated. This wasn't supposed to be public." Then came another, "Your father says you've crossed the line. He's thinking about getting a lawyer." And finally, "Jessica won't stop crying." I didn't write back. I let it sit. The day after, Jessica messaged me herself. Just one line. "You ruined everything." I finally answered. "No, Jessica. I didn't ruin it. I revealed it." A different kind of Christmas had arrived. On December 26th, I uploaded a video. Just me. A single chair. White backdrop. My voice calm and steady. "I didn't want this," I said. But I was cast as the villain before I even saw the script. "You planned a trip. With my money. And left out my name. Then laughed when I wasn't there. So here's what really happened. Not to get back at them, but to document it. I laid it all out, the quiet years of being the dependable one. Of being used. Left out. Then gaslit into thinking I was the problem for noticing. I played Jessica's voice memo. I ended the video like this: "If you've ever been the one left behind, let this be your reminder, it's not your fault. It's theirs." That video hit 3 million views in a week. Then the spin started. Dad tried some weak damage control with a Facebook post, "Families fight. Real men don't air dirty laundry." Uncle Ethan chimed in under it, "Should've just invited him." Jessica tried to reframe the whole thing. Posted an Instagram story with a black screen and white text, "People change when you stop letting them manipulate you. I see clearly now." I actually laughed out loud. She really tried to make herself the victim of the story she wrote. But then something happened that I didn't expect. A few of my younger cousins, the quiet ones, the overlooked ones, each reached out separately. They all said some version of the same thing: "Thank you for saying what we never could." One of them added, "I saw myself in that video. I thought I was crazy. Now I know I'm not." That hit me harder than anything else. This wasn't just my story. It turned into a roadmap for other people to finally walk away. Then came the business offer. Out of nowhere, I got a message from a content platform I'd never even heard of. They wanted to license my story as a miniseries. Fully anonymous. Narrated. Animated. I agreed, on one condition. I didn't want fame. I just wanted people like me to feel seen. They said yes. Then came another email. This one was from a law firm, not for me, but for them. Apparently, Jessica had used my name and financial info on a health insurance form to score better coverage. Fraud. Traceable. Legal consequences pending. No more silent generosity. On New Year's Eve, I posted one last story. A simple photo of my apartment. Warm. Tidy. A half-full glass of red wine sitting on the windowsill. The caption said, "This year, I unwrapped the truth." And it beat anything I ever got under the tree. Not one family member liked it. But strangers did. And a few unexpected allies I never thought I had. I spent that night watching fireworks by myself. And honestly, I'd never felt more at peace. January 3rd, I changed my number. No heads up. No farewell texts. No, "In case you need me." I let the whole thing fade away, like an old voicemail on a phone nobody charges anymore. But the messages still trickled in, right on schedule. "Jessica, are you seriously cutting us all off? Dad, you made your point. Now act like a man and fix this. Mom, you'll always be my son. That's what really matters most, right? Being family? No, not anymore. Because what finally hit me, what burned through every excuse I used to make for them, was this: I was never included out of love. I was included because I was useful. The minute I stopped footing the bill, stopped being the family doormat, stopped apologizing for simply existing, I wasn't part of the group anymore. I became background noise. A problem. A threat to the version of events they'd built around themselves. I didn't disappear. I grew past them. I signed a lease on a new apartment, downtown, 27 floors up. South-facing windows. No guest rooms. No oversized couch for anyone to just crash for a bit. The first thing I unpacked. A photo of me, taken right before I walked away from that dinner table of 17. I had it framed. Hung it in the hallway, not as a victory lap, but as a reminder. Never beg for a seat at a table where you're only tolerated, not wanted. A message they couldn't pretend not to see. Then on January 8th, I got a letter. Actual paper. Stamped and sealed. From my parents' attorney. It read: Our clients are concerned about reputational damage. They request that you remove all public-facing content and issue a clarification stating that your social media material was fictional. I actually laughed reading it. So I wrote back. My content is based on facts. All documented. And legally protected. And if you choose to move forward, discovery will include financial records, text logs, voice recordings, and witnesses. Also, best of luck dealing with the investigation into Jessica's fraudulent insurance application. That wasn't even my report, by the way. Never heard back from that lawyer. But by then, I had already built something bigger than revenge. 6 weeks after I went public, I started getting invitations, podcasts, panels on toxic families, even a docuseries shoot in Toronto. I turned down most. But I did one, the first invite I got. During the interview, the host asked, "What do you say to people who believe blood is thicker than water?" I smiled and replied, "Then don't be shocked when your own family tries to drown you." That was the beginning of the final chapter. The sign. Literally. I opened a co-working space on the edge of the city. Nothing fancy, just a spot for creatives, freelancers, and folks trying to rebuild their lives after getting dragged through hell. I named it Not Included. Underneath, in smaller letters, a place for the ones who got left off the invite. Opening day, I taped something to the front desk. A printed screenshot of that first message from Jessica. He's really not here. OMG. Our plan worked. Framed under glass. With one simple line typed below, and now I am. I don't miss them. I miss the version of them I made up to survive. Sometimes people ask if I've forgiven them. I tell the truth, I've let them go. Not the same thing. I don't hate them. I don't wish them pain. I just don't carry them with me anymore. I don't answer calls from blocked numbers. I don't go scrolling through old group chats, wondering where I messed up. And when I look in the mirror, I no longer ask, what could I have done differently? Because deep down, I know, I did everything right. And they still chose to cut me out. My final words to them were quiet. But they were the last. That year, Christmas cards went out early. I mailed just one. Sent it to my parents' address. Inside was a photo of me, standing in front of the Not Included sign. No message. No sender name. No return address. Just a sticky note tucked inside. Next time, pay for your own vacation. I wasn't forgotten. I was erased. But I turned that erasure into a sign, one they have to drive past every single day. But stepping inside? That privilege is gone. For good.